What's up, real estate business builders? Welcome to another free weekly training. My name is Lars Hedenborg, the founder of Real Estate B School. This week, we're going to talk about how to master organization in your real estate business, in your life, and specifically 3 tools that you can start using today. And you won't believe at least 1 or 2 of these tools you would not have thought of. So if you're not in our group yet, our Facebook group, Real Estate Business Builders. Get over there. All the free trainings I've ever done are in there. They're in the guide section. You can search, you can just dive in. The whole point of Real Estate Business Builders is to help agents that want to build a legit business that gives them freedom of time, freedom of money, and freedom from stress. So, and real quick about me, some of you don't know who I am. I love business. I love being a dad. I love being a husband. I built an amazing real estate business. I exited that business a couple of years ago. 5,000 plus families served in that business. Thousands of agents I've helped through Real Estate B School. I've made all the mistakes you could possibly make in all of that. And I've cracked the code on freedom of time, freedom of money. And I work an amazing schedule, still doing the things I love to do in business. And it's been a long journey. And like I said, I've made all the mistakes. I'm willing to share them with you. That is really the motivation behind these trainings. So let's get into it. When I think about this conversation, about mastering organization, your ability to do more in less time, that's essentially what we're talking about here. Real estate. Let's take just being a real estate agent. There's a million things to remember in a single transaction. If you're a top agent or a team leader, you're doing multiple transactions. So the ability to get disorganized is legit. It's real. If you have a husband, a wife, or you have kids, or you're trying to take care of your physical body or your spiritual health, or maintain relationships with family members or friends, there's so much that goes on. If you are a growth minded real estate agent, which is likely the case if you're watching this right now, it's probably the case that you have thoughts all the time about business, and you're not going to be able to process those thoughts, the future vision for your life and your business, if you don't have the tools necessary to do it. So let's get after it here. All right. So every time I do a training, I try to do some sort of guide, some sort of giveaway that will help you dive deeper into this. So wherever you're consuming this, whatever platform, comment, give me an edge, and we will get you. The copy of our master organization guide. So make sure you comment, give me an edge, and my team will get you that guide. So the guiding thought here and the guiding question is, are you ready? And of course you're ready. You wouldn't be here listening. Are you ready to stop wasting your time going haphazardly, like chicken with its head cut off between tasks, and start organizing and controlling and organizing your time? So a quote from Benjamin Franklin: for every minute spent in organizing, an hour is earned, right? Just think about that. Pretty smart dude, right? If you spend just a minute, it gains you, a multiple of the time to get organized. So most of us, and I'm better now, but I'm recovered. Most of us are not as organized as we could be, and this is a slow down to speed up sort of situation. So why does this matter? Getting organized in general, this is going to help you manage your time, reduce your stress, improve productivity, efficiency, and ultimately allow you to achieve your goals, make better decisions, increase your well-being, and foster personal growth. That is what we're after here in Real Estate B School and these trainings specifically. We want the best for you. We want you to be able to enjoy life and crush it in business, right? But oftentimes it's hard to do that. So you may be wondering or asking yourself, or something may have just come to mind when I bring up, master organization. You may say, oh my gosh, my closet is a crap hole, or, oh my gosh, my mind goes to my garage. Right now, my garage is completely out of control. We're going through a process of just decluttering the house, and everything is making its way, either garbage or stuff we're going to give away. A donate is making stuff into the garage. So that's what comes to mind to me. So whatever came to mind to you, that's a place you could start. And it's likely where you should begin to get some natural momentum. We all have messes, quote unquote, in our life that we should be focused on and clean up. So just think about that. And then when it comes to business, what's an area of business that comes to mind when I talk about mastering organization, right? And increasing productivity. Is it like when you get involved in a transaction, you're like in the weeds of that transaction, and maybe there's an administrator that can help with some of those things. So start to think about that. Getting back your time, if you're doing a decent amount of business, your ability to enjoy the fruits of your labor, sometimes it's a challenge. So this is the time, this is the training to allow you to help you get your free time back. And, in terms of real estate, so when you think about real estate, there are at least a dozen jobs that we do when it comes to identifying a would-be buyer and seller to the point where they're happily, weeks after the closing, they're in their new home and they're happy, and you start the communication, the post-closing communication project process with them. And so you're doing all of those things. And if you're working with multiple clients, you're running a team or a brokerage, or, you're doing all of it all the time, and it can get out of control. So here's the thing though, your habits are like a muscle, right? So if you've habitually been disorganized, you developed a muscle around those habits. And it's time to start to train the habit of being organized and being productive. And it's about cultivating organization as a habit. And the 3 tools we're going to go through will allow you to do that. You guys know I love the quote from James Clear from the book Atomic Habits. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And that's key here. You fall to the level of your systems. Organization is all about systems, and the 3 tools that we'll go through will help you. So there are, I guarantee you didn't know, and this is research done by my team, that there is an association called the National Association of Productivity and Organizing, NAPO. They report on average, we spend 1 year of our lives looking for lost items. That's over, what is that, like, I don't know, 8,700 hours, I think they report, looking for lost or misplaced items, likely because of lack of organization. So a whole industry, $154 billion industry, paying to store unused objects. So folks that have storage units, right, that's usually overflow of stuff they don't use very often. And that's a byproduct of not being organized, right? And think of where all that money could go to. It would put the storage industry out of business, right? We don't want to do that, but just think about the waste that's inherent in that. So let's get into the first tool. I'm excited about that. I actually had time on Saturday. I had a Saturday where I had nothing to do, and I was going, and I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube. I've used a tool called Notion. And it's a very, very flexible tool. I've used it to coordinate my YouTube videos. And this tool alone, and there's too much to go into, so make sure you grab the guide. In the guide, we go through all of the benefits of the tool. It's a very robust, feature rich for the free version. That's the cool thing about it, is that there's a free version that allows you to pay them no money. And it's wickedly feature rich, and you definitely want to check it out. Real quick though, there's you could organize your to-do list by day. You can integrate your calendar. You can keep notes. Like sometimes, as growth-minded entrepreneurs, we have this stream of consciousness, these streaming thoughts, where I just go in there and write down some notes. You can manage all of your projects. Projects are the thing that's going to help you build a real business. The systems you work on in the business, the projects to build those systems, are the thing that's going to give you the freedom, right? We do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. So the functionality of this tool is through the roof. But here's the thing. If you're already using a tool at a very high level, a notes app, or if you're using like a project management tool like ClickUp, that's more project management-y, if that's even a word. Evernote, OneNote, even the native app on, I use iPhone, and I use the native app on the iPhone sometimes, and I'll share, notes with my bride, things that we're working on together. She shared one of them today. I said, hey, honey, like, what's your best life? What does your best life look like? And I opened up a note on my iPhone. I shared it with her. I said, just bullet it out. And I want to help you, get rid of some of these things that cause friction, the lack of organization. And some of it was around organizing the house and her time, and like, how can I help in that process? Right. So we all struggle with this, but I would say use what works. So bottom line, if you have a system and you're crushing it and you're massively organized, use what works. I think you will find, though, that Notion is a one-up from most tools that you might be using. Like, for sure, if you just open up a document and that's your way of staying organized, Notion will help you next level that. The second tool is Google Calendar. Guys, I live by my calendar. I have done separate trainings. Get into the free Facebook group, look up the time freedom system, where I go deep on the ideal week and how I use my Google Calendar, how I talk about the massive, massive freedom I have with the structure of my calendar. I was blessed to take a 30-day sabbatical here recently. I'm like a week back. I almost didn't come back, and my ability to do that came down to this tool. I committed 9 or 10 months ago that I was going to take 30 days off, no email, no work whatsoever, no Slack channels, no Vox messages, no social media at all. I still haven't gone back to social media. My ability to do that was because I blocked out that month ahead of time, and me and the team got to work on what would need to happen for me to completely check out of the business and for the business to grow and sustain on its own without me. Right. So not only does Google Calendar have the ability just to time block and help you create that ideal week. I've done a training called Your Ideal Week as well. You can really dig in. If you keep a good calendar, the insights that you'll gain by even just looking back at the different weeks are profound, right? So Google will give you insights of where you spend your time, what days are busiest, when you have the most appointments, right? So it's something that we should not take for granted. When I work with an agent who's struggling, and let's say they're a top agent, so they're doing 250,000 GCI. That's like about 2% of agents do 250,000 or more in GCI. So pretty rare air there. And they're struggling. They want to get to 500,000 GCI, or 100 that wants to get to 250, that wants to get to 500. They want to grow, and they just haven't figured out how to do it. It comes down to where they're spending their time. I will literally say, okay, I gave you screen share access. Let's go ahead and open up your calendar and let's see what your priorities are, right? You could tell me your priorities are your family, or, your spouse, your kids, and, working out, and let's open up your calendar and let's just look at your calendar, right? If it's not in your calendar, it's not going to happen. And it's hard to be a top producing real estate agent. It's hard to scale beyond a solo agent and become a team leader and do it in a way where you have freedoms. Your calendar is the way to do it. I've tried all the competing calendars to Google Calendar. I specifically recommend Google Calendar, and the suite of Google tools is powerful as well. Guys, the third tool is your clock. This thing right there, your clock, right? How are you? And this is the one you probably didn't see coming. Your ability to create a life for yourself where you have the money to do the things that you want, it comes down to the decisions and the choices that you're making with your time. Right. And this is a moment by moment basis, right? If you're not making the money you want today, it means that you're making decisions chronically, habitually, and maybe haphazardly, going from task to task to task. And there's no strategy, there's no vision for where you want to spend your time. So in terms of organizing your routine and your workflow, you have to be able to track your time. in B school, it is quite painful, but we will take you through a time study. So it's a 2-week time study where we catalog where you're spending your time. And if that time leans more towards lower paid, but still maybe important administrative tasks, both personally and professionally, versus the highly, $500, $1,000 an hour, $5,000 an hour tasks. And your ability to make the shift from the lower dollar productive activities to the higher DPAs, dollar productive activities, is a process. And we do a quarterly process, but it comes from you having an awareness about where you spend your time. And I don't care what sort of, like, I'm literally talking about a clock, guys. I don't care if you use for a while, I was getting really great results with it. On Chrome, there was an extension called Pomodoro, Pomodoro, I think it's called, where you just set a time limit. It shuts down all the apps on your computer, and it allows you to get the work done that you committed to get done in that time block. So in your calendar, you said, okay, I've got a half hour to work on this project. You open up the Pomodoro, which is a clock, and it shuts everything else down, and you can focus. And then it lets you know, I think it works in 25-minute increments, and you can change the different settings. But it's simplifying whatever works for you. If putting your watch, maybe you have an Apple Watch, and you can, hit the thing and just go over to timers, right? And then you can say recent or custom, and then you can set a timer. Right. So your ability to move your business and your life forward comes from a commitment to getting organized with your time. Your habits and time blocking depend on you utilizing this simple tool. So, guys, I totally get it. Notion, Google Calendar, and your clock. We're barely scratching the surface here. Make sure you grab a copy of the Master Organization Guide. That's going to give you a deep dive into each of these tools. So make sure you grab that. What was the keyword that I said in order to grab that? What did I call it? I said, give me an edge. So no matter where you're watching this, just type in give me an edge. So the bottom line is that my success and many failures have come from my ability to constantly optimize around getting organized, and not getting organized haphazardly, but getting organized in a specific way where the byproduct of me getting organized is that I'm going to get paid more. I'm going to have more money to do the things that I want to do, and I'm going to have less stress in my life. That's what I want most of all for you. Control what you can. Don't let the chaos of real estate take hold and allow you to fall out of step with the things that matter most in your life. You guys know that if you ever want to have a conversation about your business, if you want to go further, faster than what I can do in these free weekly trainings, just grab a free business growth assessment. Go to REBS Growth Assessment now. We're going to take a deep dive in the business, see where you are today, where you want to be in the future, what's holding you back. This is not hype. There are no gimmicks. We're just going to talk about what could it look like to go from 100,000 to 250,000 to 500,000 to $1 million, or get your next 500,000 or $1 million if you're running a bigger business. We work with all types of agents and team leaders. REBSgrowthassessment.com. Guys, we'll see you on the next training. Much love, much respect. We'll talk to you soon. Be good.